Hey, you guys. I hope you guys can hear me okay. I am a little late. My sincerest apologies. I know it feels like I'm always getting up here and saying that, but I truly do mean it. Happy hump day, y'all. Yes, yes, yes. Your girl is trying to make it through. I am off tomorrow, so I figure, even though it's late, let me get it done anyway instead of moving it. Last Wednesday I was off, which allowed me to do this at the time that I would like to do it. But this week not so much because I had to work today. But we're going to get the thing done. Your girl is off screen. I usually am never off screen, but your girl is off screen just because I am looking rough. We are here to work, okay? We are here to get the doggone thing done, and that is just that, okay? So we're getting ready to get into it, and next week I'm off, so hopefully we will get a better time. Wish me luck. Appreciate you guys all immensely. Give me one good second. You know what? I don't even know if you guys can hear me because I'm going to do a quick little sound check. Sound check. 1, 2, 1, 2. So I know it's kind of early, but since I'm off camera and I will not have a nose break, we will have a sound check break very quickly. Make sure you guys are liking and subscribing. I forgot to loop that, y'all. My apologies. So that's just sitting there. Let me fix that for later on. Put my loop on. Let's turn this music down because at the end of my last Love and Marriage DC, I had the music on so loud at the end. I'm like, I don't even know if y'all heard anything I was saying, but it's just as well. Did my notes go out? My notes went out. Pause for the cause. Hey, Monique 69 Ways, here to talk about this show. I'm hoping this show takes a turn. I really like it, and I don't remember them aggravating my nerves this much last season. I'm still enjoying it, and I'm still here, but I'm just like, Lord. I mean, I guess it's like I said in one of my other videos that these people have a lot of stuff going on, so we are really just seeing that come across on the camera through their actions and their arguments and everything. So we will finally get into the thing. Oh my God, it's almost 5 minutes. We are here for Summer House, Martha's Vineyard, Martha's Vineyard, season 2, episode 4, Summer Under Pressure. So last week they left us with a to be continued. Summer and Jordan were arguing. And so we opened it. I mean, it was a to be continued, but not really. And they kind of did the same thing at the end of this episode. We open with Summer storming into the house. She is mad. She asked Jordan to speak to her kindly, and she is not doing so. So she asked Jasmine to sleep in her room for the evening. What'd you say, Monique? You said Jordan aggravated me along with Bria last season. And they said, yeah, I remember Bria definitely aggravated me last season. Jordan, I don't remember if she aggravated me so much because I was so bothered by Jasmine with the whole Silas thing last season, but I digress. Definitely this season, they are both giving me that. And I like Jordan, and I kind of feel for her now that I know exactly what's going on with her. Hey, Harold. Hey. So Summer is kind of saying that Jordan is so defensive and that she has to show up for her every single moment. Hold on one second, you guys. I don't know why these kids left my door open and my son is being super loud because my 15-year-old is still up. Hold on. All right, y'all. I'm back. My apologies for that. I'm just like listening and it was throwing me off. I'm like, dang, why are they so loud? Hey, Shayna. Hey. Thank you for stopping by. So, where were we talking about the whole Summer and Jordan of it all? So she says that Jordan is so defensive and she has had to show up for her every single moment. Now Amir comes in while she's struggling straight to get it together. Child, she walking backwards and forwards. She in the bathroom, I think, changing her clothes. And he's basically just trying to get her to take a deep breath. So she says, 3 hours ago, you were crying in the bathroom and I held you. Now they do give us a flashback, but she does not bring up the alopecia while she's having this conversation. Or at least as far as I could see at that moment. And I said that because it comes up again later. So Summer is basically pissed that she is not allowed to be mad. And I had in my notes that I really needed to know what Summer is going through. And she did kind of get into that a little bit in the episode. And I said, that's what this is all about. Everybody is going through so much that it's just, instead of enjoying themselves and really just having a good time like they should be, they're just arguing and bickering with each other. And it's kind of frustrating. So at some point, Nick and Shanice come in and join them. And my question was, I'm like, were Nick and Shanice high? Because just a few moments earlier, they were downstairs just tearing up some chips and dip. Like they never had chips and dip before. I said, okay, what is going on here? Or at least Shanice was. And then, all of the chips and dip give Shanice the farts, and that's kind of what breaks up the tension of the conversation. So, meanwhile, Noelle is in the room crying. And my assumption, and I was correct, was she's crying about the conversation that she had with Alex. Now, I forgot to mention the whole cupcake slash kiss incident between Noelle and Hendrix last episode. And I said to myself, now we already know Alex gets a little weird when it comes to the ladies because he did the same thing last season with Shanice when he found out about her stalking her ex. Either way, Noelle needs to let it go. Now, as I wrote that down in my notes, I did not realize that that was going to then come up into play later on in the episode, but it definitely did. Jordan is in the car with Preston and Alex, and Preston tells her that Summer feels like she can't blow up, but Jordan can. And eventually they just make their way on into the house. Harold says, it shows me that some of them are emotional drunks, and that is the word. Yeah, the worst type of drunk to be around. Yeah, you need to put that thing down if all you're going to be doing is crying. Like, I'm either fun or sleepy. Not this thing banging on my computer. Yeah, they definitely do need to put that down. And I put the zodiac signs up here again so we can take a look and see what we got on the plate. I'm so sad. Put my head down for Bria being a Gemini, and that's why sometimes being a Gemini, oof, please, we catch the stray. Don't really feel that the things that they say are necessarily true, but maybe in the case of Bria, they just might be. So in the kitchen, Shanice asked Jordan if she's okay. And Jordan is saying that, she's not well. She starts saying even her crying moments are being held against her. And she says that, she had a moment about her wigs and her clothes, just not feeling like herself. And she's speaking to Shanice and Preston. And she says Summer was a part of that. And she feels that she's speaking to Shanice and Preston at this point, and she's saying Summer was a part of when she was breaking down. I'm trying to explain myself. When she was breaking down, Summer was a part of that. And she kind of feels like she's being overexposed. And I think Shanice says that's kind of how she felt as well. And I said, okay, I'm calling cap on that, Shanice, because it's really apples and oranges. Because, like, child, child. Um, Also, she didn't bring up exactly why Jordan was crying, so I was kind of annoyed by that, but I digress. No, no, there's no cancers in the house. Harold, you're a cancer? Oh, my middle son is a cancer. Y'all are some lovers. Yep, Shayna's a cancer too. Y'all are some lovers, but y'all do not. Don't mess with them. Don't mess with them. They be ready to cuss you on out. What is he? Sorry. Where were we? Mm. So now we are in the bedroom with Preston and Nick, and Jordan is crying about her hair falling out. Totally understandable. Whenever she starts to crying, not that I can relate to the alopecia part, but just being in an emotional, kind of way, I get it. In the confessional, she says that Summer weaponized her alopecia, her vulnerability, and why would you be telling somebody that I'm not on good terms with, i.e. Jasmine, anything to do with her life, let alone something so personal. But she didn't. She didn't tell her exactly what it was, which was kind of what was bothering me. Um, and I had hoped that we would get into it later, and we did, and it really didn't make any of a difference, much of a difference. Um, so it's day 5 of 15. Half of the group heads to church. Alex says he comes from 4 generations of Pentecostal preachers. So him, Nick, Jasmine, and Shanice, they all head to church. At the house, Summer has a talk with Preston to get his perspective. Now, he says she was disappointed because when you talked about her autoimmune disease, you used it against her. She said Shanice knew details from when, Summer was in the room crying. And Summer says she understands all that. But she's like, all I said when I was in the room was, I was holding you because you were crying, which is all she said. And she's making it seem like she doesn't support her when she was just consoling her. So Summer's like, I didn't say anything about her alopecia, her autoimmune disease. All I was trying to do is console her. She's trying to make it seem like I wasn't supporting her. So that's why she said what she said, which I totally got, but I digress. So Preston says, well, that probably needs to be probably a conversation you need to have with Shanice. But Shanice is at church. So he feels like there's tension between the two of them, and there definitely is, which, child, I could take it or leave it, because one second they're best of friends and the next they're not. Summer feels like she's been trying to take care of her, and now she's taking on her emotions too, and it's draining for her. So Preston's like, listen, again, y'all two need to talk. Like, you need to talk to Shanice, but you also need to talk to Jordan and kind of hash this whole thing out. Noelle says to Bria that Alex came in the room and asked Summer if she was going to go to church and not her. And Bria's like, well, he didn't ask me either. And I'm like, Noelle, baby, I really need you to let this whole thing go. So Summer tells Jordan, who's still in the bed, I'm going by the pool if you want to talk. So she gets to the pool and she sits down to have a conversation with Noelle about Mr. Alex. And she asked how it went, and we all know that it did not go so good at all. She said that basically the conversation ended at the bar. She's like, when a man says, we'll see, we'll see how things go. Oh, you can go straight to hell, is what Noelle said. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of did throw you in the friend zone. And Noelle said she is feeling rejected. Um, and Summer's just basically there to comfort her. She's giving her all the hugs, which part of me was giving just a little bit of a slight side eye, because sometimes with the way Summer behaves, it's like, I don't know, she's sincere, she's not being so sincere. So Noelle reveals that her mom and dad got divorced when she was 8 months old. Her dad was never a present parent. She cries that she spent her teen years looking for love, and I really hate that for her because clearly it lasted past her teens. But I really hope that she can move past this and not internalize what happened, because Alex is just an F boy, in my opinion. So, again, Summer's just consoling her, and she says, you're an honest human being, and that's one of the things that I love about you. And now, baby, let me get this out of the way right here. Later on, Noelle goes to her room. This was later on in the episode, but we're going to put it right here. She goes into her room and she calls her mom and tells her mom what happened at the club with Alex. And mom's like, I would just be done with him. Yes, mama. Absolutely. So Noelle cries and she says she hates that she revealed her hand. And girl, I hate that for you too. So mom's like, listen, stop crying. You're human. Do not let people dictate who you are. Hallelujah and a. Sorry, guys. You would think. Close that door, please. You would think. So the people are getting ready for Soul Food Sunday, and Bria is bothered that Jasmine booked Mariah's ticket before having a conversation with her, because Phil had told her. So we're going to definitely have to bring that up later on. And she's basically talking to Noelle and Summer about it when they give us a good old flashback. She says that she and Jasmine talked about last summer, so she kind of doesn't understand why she didn't just bring it up then. Like, you could have just told me whatever, but Jasmine kind of reveals why she didn't towards the end of the episode, and I mean that's up to you or whomever how you feel about it. I kind of on Jasmine's side just a little bit with this one, because I feel like Bria is just being a little bit unreasonable, and I don't really feel like she's as bothered as she says she is. So what? Oh, I'm like, sometimes this dictation. So the gang, they get back from church, and Bria's like, thanks for inviting me to church. She's saying this to Alex. And Alex is like, well, everyone was invited and you can come when they go back. So then Bria asked Preston if he would go to go to church, and he's like, no, he never really enjoyed church, and I can truly understand why. Now, I'm not particularly a big fan of church, but I do understand that Preston's reasoning will be a little bit different because he's got the whole LGBT perspective. So if you gave any inkling of that in the church, I can kind of see where you would have gone with that. I had to deal with going to church. I was with my oldest son, I was engaged, but I wasn't married. Going to church pregnant, that was fun. So around that time, I was kind of, done with the church. I did enjoy church when I was younger, when I would go with like my friend, and like my parents would be at home. I would go with my friend, we would go to Sunday school, we would go to service, and that's when I enjoyed it. But as I got older and all the hypocrisy of everything, that's like, I feel like I'm, religious, but not, I mean, spiritual, but not very religious in terms of like the church. That, and just people love to interpret things the way that they want to suit them, and I'm just not with it. Yeah, because the way I would go off about all that drunk crying and arguing that they do. And Shayna says it'll be so much more interesting if they had a Cancer. I'm between a Gemini and a Leo. I'm surprised they can't, Well, they got two Leos. Who else is that? That's a Leo? Amir, and is that Jasmine? Oh, that's Summer. Child. I digress. Moseying back into these notes. So Amir says basically like, well, take a piece of every religion and observe it, and you will see kind of like what the connection is. And everybody's just kind of looking at him like, good old blank stare. So the group heads to the beach, and while they're at the beach, they toast and welcome Noel and Summer to Inkwell Beach. And I was like, confused. Like, wasn't Summer there last year? I said, I guess she must have missed the beach part because I couldn't remember when Summer came. So I'm like, maybe she came at the end and missed the beach part. But, they end up playing Martha Says instead of Simon Says because, they're at Martha's Vineyard. And then they got, like the hood spelling bees. Cute, cute, cute little time that they have. Your girl loves a good board game, party type games. So back at the house, like everybody's kind of just chilling. Alex is meditating, they're taking out the trash and they discover there's like a little garden and everything. And then they're just basically getting ready for dinner. So Summer says that there's a lot happening right now. And oh, child, this is when we get into it, when we find out what the hell has been wrong with Summer. Because I needed to know. Because I needed to know what crawled up her ass and why she behaves the way that she does. Oh, okay. So Summer did come halfway through the last season. I'm like, I thought after I had to sit there and think about it, I'm like, no, she wasn't here at the beginning. So I'm like, I guess she missed the beach. I didn't think she was halfway, but that tracks. So Summer said that there's a lot happening right now. She's figuring out who her father is. I said, excuse me? Huh, okay. She's, trying to keep it together for her Nana who has to have surgery. She didn't elaborate for what, but that could be it. Surgery is major, especially when you're older. The fight with Jordan is kind of just adding to the overall stress of everything else. And I can see that. It takes something very, very small when you're going through something big to just be the thing that just puts you right on over the edge. So now it really, makes sense to your girl what was going. Because I said before something was going on with Summer because they all seem to be processing and going through things. And I said, and also therapy, Summer, therapy. So Summer and Jordan, they go to have a conversation. And Jordan says that basically, like, she doesn't understand what the problem was, coupled with, being coupled with what happened earlier in the day. She doesn't understand why a really private moment, whether you share the details or not, is even being brought up. And I am already going to tell you that I am annoyed. I was annoyed at this point because if she didn't bring up the details, then like, why are we even asking about it? Like, why are we even getting bothered? Like, she can't say that you cried. Like, you're that hard and that tough that you don't want anybody to know that girl, go somewhere and like have several seats. So we shall proceed. She says that she feels like Summer sharing that was a violation. Summer says, okay, so let's backtrack just a little bit, if you will. There were times last night where your tone was a little belittling. So she says that she was just upstairs saying that she was caring for her. But Jordan doesn't think it should have been brought up at all. Again, I felt like, as a younger folks say, cap, like it was total BS. She says she doesn't feel like, she doesn't feel like her safe space was maintained. So Summer apologizes for it, and she doesn't want her to feel like she can't come to her and confide in her. And that she just kind of feels like sometimes Jordan is just angry, and Jordan don't really have a response because she does just come off as just angry. But I think she gave us a little insight to what was going on with her too. I said, dang, I get that y'all all have this going on. And I'll say this, I know I said it 1,000 times in this recap, and I said it 1,000 times in the last one. This is supposed to be the opportunity to put all of that behind you and let your hair down. So why are we getting a bug up our ass about these little insignificant things? I'll digress. So Summer asks, do you feel like you can't trust me? And Jordan says she does feel like her trust was violated. So in the confessional, Jordan says that Summer and her are fine for the moment, but there will always be this little thing in the back of her head telling her that maybe she should just keep this one to herself. But let me mention that later on that night that the two of them ends up back in bed. Anyway, let's just marinate on that, okay? So how serious was it really? So now it's finally, sorry y'all, taking a little sip of my water. It's finally dinner time. So, Preston, he's got the mac and cheese as per usual. That's your girl's dish too. I love to make a good old mac. I'm always switching up the cheeses. I had a different recipe and now I got a new one with, my goudas and my Havarti, Havarti, child. Just delicious. Love me some macaroni and cheese. Bria has got this stuffed chicken and Amir. Ooh, child. I probably been calling him the wrong name. I haven't talked about him that much. Like I said, I always get him tripped up with my nephew's name. I have to go say my nephew's name in my head and then be like, that's not the right one. So he has braised short rib, which sounds so freaking good, and Philly steaks with no cheese. Now, baby, black folks in their food, so they got a talk about it in the confessional. Like, excuse me, say what now? But in his confessional, he confesses that he just forgot the damn cheese. So we move on to the next day 6 of 15. Because like I said, after that, not much or nothing happened except for Summer and Jordan being in the bed like wasn't nothing wrong to begin with. So Bria's talking to Simon and they're checking flights because he's complaining about not being able to find a flight or the price having gone up twice. And in her confessional, she says that she hasn't seen him in months and it's taking a toll on their relationship. Child, now you said y'all was doing better, but I'm going to digress. I'm going to be quiet and I'm going to keep my mouth closed because Bria is still Bria. So kudos to the Simon for being able to put up with her. Yeah, but she's also saying that she's having withdrawal from the D. Okay, girl, does the D calm you down? Because we ain't seen it. So now it's Bria's day, and she has, chefs and a tent, and it's like, a la circus. We got popcorn and cotton candy included. Now, the setup was a little bit weird, if you ask me. I was like, okay, girl, this is what we're doing. This is what we're giving. So Jasmine decides to go and FaceTime with Silas. And she's like, I'm going to bring you downstairs to say hello to everyone because they miss him. And I said, girl, no, we do not. And no, the people in the house, again, do not. So she says she's having a hard time keeping her lips zipped. And then she reveals in her confessional that she and Silas are expecting. Now, I wasn't quite sure on the first episode because I knew we had seen, let me just bring it up real quick. The people picture, there was a bunch of them, came out, I guess it was last summer, that she was pregnant. So I was like, well, she could have been, she could not have been. But surely by episode 2, it was kind of clear and folks were starting to suspect. And then, her drinking and her just kind of some of her clothes. And one of them was talking about like, her girls, her boobs was boobing. So we got the picture. But she wanted to wait until the second trimester to tell the group, which is totally understandable. But she says she's like, I think 2 days away from the second trimester. It's totally understandable because, a lot of people experience loss in that area. Sometimes you make it past the first trimester and that still happens. And that's very unfortunate. But I get the precaution of like, it's a lot higher in that first trimester. So you kind of don't really want to tell anybody other than, your significant other, maybe a mom or a dad or something like that. But yeah, keep it kind of close to the vest. So Silas is like, listen, it's your news to share. And so whenever you feel like sharing it, go ahead and share it. I said, okay, thank you, Silas, because you was definitely being an arsehole. So at least, you sound like you got some kind of ounce of feelings or emotions in there. And they were saying that, y'all people like to get them knocked up while y'all going to be deployed to make sure they don't, get into no trouble. Her face looks swollen at times. Like, yeah, yeah. It probably was different times that she shot it too, but I was like, yeah, baby, we can kind of tell. So she does bring him downstairs and say hello. And I mean, like I said, nobody seems like overly thrilled to be speaking to Silas, but here we are. And then, like, a little bit later, Jordan shares that she had a dream. It's like Jasmine and a few of the other ladies. And she's like, she thought she was pregnant and she had the baby and she tried to keep it a secret. And and it was like, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I thought maybe at that point, since it was so close to the conversation, that they might get into it then, but it just was Jordan talking, unless, they cut that part out. So now it's time for Bria's whatever this is. And she comes in with 2 llamas? No, I think they were alpacas, child. Yeah. So the group asked Bria about Simon, and she's just kind of like brushing him off, and then she's like, she doesn't want to talk about it. She had a whole ass attitude, and I'm like, girl, it's not that serious. And in the confessional, she starts, talking about people being in her business, and she don't want to talk about it. Girl, it ain't that doggone serious. It's really, really, really not. You don't want to talk about it, you don't have to talk about it, but you're not talking about it is making a bigger deal than what it really is, because nobody really cares that much about Simon anyway. So getting ready for dinner, we see a quick scene of Noelle doing Jordan's hair, and she's asking her how she's doing. And it's more of the same. She says, she's feeling a little self-conscious, as we know, but they're gonna go out, shake a tail feather. So they go out to dinner. It's dinner time, and everybody's eating, and they're seemingly enjoying their meal. But then Alex brings up that Jordan is quiet. Now, this wasn't the first time he mentioned it. In his confessional after they had the last soul food dinner, he kind of mentioned it then, but it didn't go anywhere. So I was like, yeah, I didn't even put it in my notes. But by the time we get to here, and this is the second time, it's like, okay. So he's like, she's quiet and she hasn't been really involved in the conversation. And he says that she has a strong presence and her voice holds weight. And, he hasn't really heard it. It was kind of weird hearing him say that, or even what his reasoning was behind it. And people were kind of also looking at him like, do you just miss hearing the sound of her voice? It was a little weird. I wasn't about to watch it 2 times to like pick it apart any further. And I think it was Bria that asked how she was feeling. So Jordan says, she has experienced a lot of loss in her life, and she's been responsible for a lot of other people's lives. So, the majority of the people her age, she's 31, haven't been through similar situations, and it's impacted how she looks at life. And I'm like, okay, like I said, this is the part where she gets to kind of share what she's going through, what she's been through, which we already knew, the alopecia thing, but we're now adding another layer. I can't remember if she brought up her mom last season. She probably did. I didn't rewatch this season right before this season, so it's kind of just a little brief thing that they gave us at the beginning. And she brings up her mom again now in the confessional and says that she passed away when she was 17 years old. She was the only child. Her mom was the only child. She kind of took her mom's parents on, and she just felt very alone and overwhelmed. And like I said, it's because Jordan definitely gives Mean Girls. She is beautiful, but she definitely gives Mean Girl. Her attitude, she has a huge chip on her shoulder. She definitely could benefit from some therapy, because it's going to take you quite some time. But I do get warmed up to her every time she starts talking about the things that she's she's going through. It kind of humanizes her, for me at least. I know some people are like, because I think somebody on Twitter was like, can she be going through alopecia and I feel bad for her, and also she gets on my nerves at the same time? And I think that that's totally being fair. So she tells them about her losing her hair, and how as a Black woman, your hair is your currency. Talked about that a little bit before in previous recaps. And I was kind of on board with everything. And then she's like, she's single and that's a big thing. And like, she doesn't know where it's going. I was like, girl. And she kind of looks over at Jasmine because I think Jasmine kind of put that on her last season. Like, definitely at 31, that's not that big of a deal. Now, she doesn't have any kids, but maybe she don't want any kids. So I really, really, really hate how society puts that on us. Like, I've never been married. I've been engaged, never married. I got 3 kids, 2 dads, and it just kind of is what it is. But even from my mom from time to time, is like she'll be bringing up, you know, me having a husband down the line, and I'm like, does that take away who I am as a person if I don't have a husband? Like, I just can't be great as a single mom, just doing the damn thing. Okay. I digress. So Amir says that, she can count on the people at the table to show up, and a few others are kind of chiming in an agreement, just, there to show us some support. So Alex is like, I understand you more deeply in this dinner than I did the whole last summer. Now, you didn't need to share, but because you were willing to share that, and before he could even finish getting this thought out of his mouth, Jordan interrupts him. And like I said, the young people like to say, Cap. She's like, that's untrue. You don't understand me because you had my friend messed up. You completely had me effed up with the Shanice situation. I said, yikes. I totally did not expect that or see that one coming. I was like, oh, okay. So y'all didn't even delve into that last summer, but this summer you said y'all yeah, the minute you open your mouth and say boo, we're gonna take it back and we're gonna get into it. And get into it we did. Sorry, I gotta take a little water break, y'all. So she says, you called me toxic the first time you met me. And of course, we get the flashback of him saying that he could see her as a toxic friend. I was like, ooh, child. Bravo gonna pull up that footage anytime they can. She's like, you judged me the first time you met me. You Googled Shanice and you judged her. Now, like I said, I had no idea we were gonna get here when she even brought up. No, I had no idea we were even gonna get here when I brought up the Shanice thing at the beginning. Because like I said, I brought it up because I couldn't believe I left it out of my recap. Sometimes I watch it back and check for audio and like glitches and stuff like that. And I was like, oh my God, I totally didn't put that in my notes and bring it up. And Alex is very insecure and very weird and all of the things over like the least little imperfection in a woman. So I was like, how could I miss that? Because that is kind of when he was giving him the stare down when it was over there doing the cupcake or whatever piece of food that was kind of kiss, kind of exchange food, whatever you want to call it, situation. That is when he was kind of looking. And I said, I do remember saying, like, I don't know if he actually was staring like that or if they just edited it to look like that, but that's definitely what bothered him. But I just brought it up because of that, not knowing that they were going to then come bring up the whole Shanice thing in this episode. Like I said, I honestly had just forgotten to mention it. So we get a flashback to last summer with him talking about the whole stalker thing. And he says, like, I knew that before I met you, but, he wasn't comfortable talking about it. And he was hoping that she would own her own narrative. It just kind of rubbed the group the wrong way when he said that. And I was like thinking to myself, like, what do you mean own her own narrative? Jordan is like, why you don't understand me is completely different. Alex is like, no, no, no. He's like, I didn't Google any of you. He says he only knew the information because of Nick. And I said, damn, yikes, and oh my goodness. Nick's face was like, what? No, you did not throw me under the bus. He's like, and that's your boy. And I'm tired of people bringing it up. This is Alex saying this to Jordan. And Jordan asked, well, why did you bring it up? He says he brought it up because he was trying to protect her. Child, Shanice hit that old soldier boy, protect me. Yeah, definitely, definitely. So Shanice starts to cry and said that traumatized her. And child, just let me pause this right here. Because as I was taking my notes and as I'm watching that episode, I was praying that this is not how the rest of the season is going to go. I agree that we do need to address things and resolve them and move on. But I'm like, y'all just going to hit every hot button topic at any given moment and harp on it and have a full-fledged argument. Now, I'm all for resolution. Do not get me wrong. And I'm not a sweeping this thing under the rug type of girl. But it's just like, are y'all going to ever be able to understand? I mean, understand, enjoy yourself. Like, I get that we have to have a show, so we have to have the drama, so we're gonna have to have something. But it just feels to me like this season is more heavy because I guess because we're getting why everybody feels the way that they do, which I do appreciate that. I just want them to let their hair down and have a good time. Child. Has Alex always been a F boy? Because I have definitely overlooked it all this time. Child, I don't know that we really got that last season. And like at towards the end, when he was doing putting his little Mac on the summer, I remember there was like a little, question mark. And now here we are. Oh my God, is it Brandy? Brandy be calling him Grand Rising? I cannot. I cannot. And he does give Grand Rising. Yeah, he snuck under our radar because he's not as overt. Um Last season we more had like Amir trying to kick game to Jordan and Nick trying to kick game to everybody before, his girlfriend, popped up on the scene, and then I've heard they broke up since. I haven't looked to confirm that, but I digress. So Jasmine asked, who was the first person to bring it up? And Nick says that Alex was talking to Bria, was talking about it, and Bria was also there. He says, and it was also brought up at the brunch. And he said somebody didn't want to talk about it. I wasn't sure because he like pointed to the person like, and you didn't want to talk about it. I can't remember. I can't remember if it was Shanice or Alex he pointed to. Um, but he says, but Jasmine, to be fair, like you said, let's talk about it. So Jasmine's like, okay, that's fair. And like I said, Bravo rolls the beautiful bean footage of Jasmine bringing it up at the table because Jasmine thought she was mother hen last season. Like she was better than everybody because she was married and she just wanted everybody to have a connection and she just wants to lay everything out on the table and she just really just needed to let things unfold organically, which is, I believe, what Jordan said last season. But here we are. At least, she's pregnant. She's cool, calm, and collected for the most part. Silas is not there. She could kind of just disappear into the fold and have a funky good time. Okay. So Shanice cries and she says that she's truly traumatized by the situation. She didn't put her nudes out there and it made her seem like she was a crazy person. And she says, her case just ended. And Bria and Noelle and Jordan are all kind of standing like beside her, behind her. So just give her some support. And she says that he's trying to sue her for $20,000 because she said in her confessional that they went to court and the case was dismissed. So now he's basically decided to go for money. I'm like, that girl don't got no $20,000. And sir, please have several. He was just a small actor on Insecure. He was on Insecure. I forgot what the man's name is. He was on Insecure. I think he was on a couple episodes because he worked with Molly at that the black firm she worked at, I believe. So it wasn't like it wasn't the guy that she ended up, marrying or whatever. But I digress. And who was Shanice for us to even have to do all of this? But nobody asked me. Okay, well, Shanice who didn't want to talk about it. Yeah. Because I think he like pointed and I like rewound it and I was like, I gotta get through this notes and move on with my life. I gotta get through this. Yeah, it probably was Shanice. Um, so Alex asked her, like, can I have a hug? Which was kind of weird, but she gives him a hug, and everybody's like, oh, that's big because she hates hugs. Shanice hates hugs. Okay. So she likes bathing suits. She likes to be naked. She likes the D, but she don't like hugs. Got it. So Amir toast to do-overs and progress. And Preston's like, listen, I understand that sometimes, we kind of tell the group, like, just say what you need to say. Like, let's get it out there. And kind of just, my feeling is like, move on from it. is why they do it. Like, put it on the table to move past it. Totally get it. But he's like, I hope that you know that we're all responsible for why people don't share certain things, himself included. And I'm like, that's true because y'all don't necessarily create a safe space, but I digress. So Bria's like, I have something to say, and I've been a little inauthentic about this whole experience, and I just want to speak up. And I said, here we go with the absolute bullshit of it all. Bria was a mess last season, and she continues to be a mess this season. So she says her mood has shifted today, and to be completely honest, she doesn't feel comfortable with Mariah coming to the house. I held it in, and I wanted everybody to have a positive experience, saying that I was fine, but I really wasn't. Child, if I didn't look a mess, I'll come on camera and show y'all my face, because what are we even doing here? So Jasmine's laughing, and she's like, I don't even want to know what to say. And then I said, baby, not in her confessional. Jasmine's revealing her mom is a brilliant 2-time felon, and don't try her because what? She was basically saying, like, y'all know me for taking it on the chin, but don't try me. Oh, Jasmine, because I still have questions as to what that mark is on your face. So anybody knows what that mark came from, feel free to get down in the comments and let me know, because I had questions last season, although I didn't do the recap just in my personal life, and I still have questions this season. So I said, yikes. Yikes, yikes, yikes. I mean, I do feel like Bria is kind of pulling this card because of what Phil said. And she wants to kind of see if Jasmine's actually may cancel Mariah's flight, in my opinion, which she not about to. She's not about to, but she's gonna try. And she's making a bigger deal out of it than I feel like she actually has with the whole situation. So Summer tells Jasmine to, like, speak up, and she says she feels bamboozled every other day. In this moment that she doesn't know what to think, and surprisingly Jordan chimes in, and she's like, maybe she just needs a moment. I said, oh, not you chiming in for Jasmine when you've been basically saying she's the ops, and how dare you even say I was crying in front of her. I was like, you really just don't like Jasmine, huh? But so I was surprised when she said that. Jasmine says, it's a lot of bad. What? It was a whole lot of back and forth. Jasmine was saying something about, trying to heal Bria out, but she was frustrated. Bria continues, and Jasmine is still crying. Noelle is trying to comfort her. Bria starts saying something about putting hands on her, and I'm like, guess she did give her a little shove with that towel. And then Jasmine brings up, but you're friends with Summer. Please refresh my memory what happened with Summer and Bria. So Bria shouts out, I suppress my feelings for you. I was like, okay, Bria. Okay. Be cool, girl. You know what? One thing I did not check, child. All right. Okay, we good. Yeah, just thought, like, I did give a little listen, but I just want to make sure. She suppressed her feelings for her. Yeah, so Jasmine's like, I get that you're trying to be the bigger person, but Bria just kept carrying on and on and on. Honestly, I was just getting frustrated because, like I said, I didn't feel like she was being authentic in the moment. I felt like she was just making a bigger deal out of it than what it was. Amir and Jordan's over at the bar getting shots, looking like they don't never want to come back to the table. And I was like, I just am all confusion. And Preston in his confessional says that basically, like, she needs to get a grip on reality because she's always walking away and pretending she's hood. Talking about Bria, I said, child. So it's just more talking. And Jasmine says that, she left the house not knowing where she stood. Well, actually, I think she said she left the house. She was saying coming back into the house. She didn't know where she stood with anyone other than Bria and Alex. And there was a lot of isolation, and she didn't know where she stood with anybody. So she was not, basically thinking about, I guess, asking about Mariah. And when she said that, I kind of got it, because I'm like, if you feel like you don't really have nobody here and like that's your best friend and you've kind of reconciled with her, I got it. So she was like, she was just trying to put on her big girl panties and have the conversations that needed to be had because she needed them this summer. And she didn't need no BS. And I was like, oh, mama, she needed the fun and the support. And she's going through a lot right now. And she's in tears. And that's where the episode ends. And baby, they have the nerve to put "to be continued" on my screen. But yeah, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Y'all be saying "to be continued." Like, just, you don't have to put that. We'll just go to the next episode. Ugh, I digress. But I felt for Jasmine because she is trying to make, trying to turn the corner without Silas being there. And she is pregnant. So I get, her being very emotional. And she does seem like she's trying to make amends and make good with the group. And she did a little slip off a little bit on, I think, episode 1 when she started talking about, I think it was Summer, if she was interested in anybody. So she could just stay off of that. She'll be okay. I hope that they can kind of. I didn't get a chance to watch what happens live with Jasmine and Summer. I may watch that later on this week. It's probably not gonna be anything relevant to talk about. That's why I was like, I ain't gonna worry about watching it before the review. But I just hope that they can turn it around. And like Jasmine was saying, she wanted fun and support. And I hope that she can definitely get that fun and support and that they could get some fun. I acknowledge that we do need some drama to talk about, but I just feel like it's a little heavy. And what's not heavy is a lot of it annoying because you know how your girl feels about rehashing things. Ciao. I did not mean for this recap to take as long as it did. I appreciate you guys for coming through. Harold, Shayna, Monique 69 Ways stopped in to say hello and check us out. Anybody coming through on the replay, leave a comment, #replay. Thank you, Harold. Also, you guys, I always say, if you don't want to leave a comment or #replay, drop me an emoji. Anything, you just kind of helps with your girl's engagement because, I got goals. I got goals that I'm trying to get to. So I'm trying to get to 1,000 by the end of the year. So I have a short-term goal of please help your girl get to 500 by June 1st. We have hit 250. We're a little over 250. So we're halfway there. We're getting kind of close. What's today? We are April 17th. We can do it. I believe you can do it. Put your back into it. I appreciate y'all. I really, 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 really do. Now let me set the stage up before I hop on out of here and try to give you guys a couple of quick updates before I go. Let's make sure I got the doggone music turned down because, like I said, I had the music up just a little bit too loud at the end of Love and Marriage DC. And I was like, I don't know that anybody can hear me. Hopefully that's too loud and you guys can hear me speaking over and I'll keep you So tonight we're sticking with Wednesdays, Summer House Martha's Vineyard. I've changed the schedule a little bit. Oh my God, my schedule's in the other room. Probably gonna have something pre-recorded up for you guys tomorrow. Fingers crossed. As always, leave on your notifications because pre-recorded is a little challenging for you, girl, which is why you're getting more lives. I think I'm going to take a little breather on Friday. Oh, you know what? I will probably give you guys, because I started to split up my Love and Marriage DC from last week because it was a finale and part 1 of the reunion. So I gave you the finale. So I'll probably give you the reunion just in case, some people want to watch one and not the other. Saturday will be Love and Marriage DC reunion part 2 sometime in the evening. Keep your notifications on, check in. Sunday will be Pajama Sundays. We are going to do a 30-day mental health challenge. Why did I do 30 days and we're in the middle of April? I just thought about that. I digress. Let's not get off on a tangent. Because I could have done 31 so we could start in May, because May is also Mental Health Awareness Month, but I wanted to do it in April, but I'm doing tangent, going off on a tangent. And also Sunday, I will probably be doing Diara from Detroit live. We are almost near the end. Episode 7, y'all, comes on tomorrow. So like I said, I appreciate you guys for coming through. As always, keep those notifications on for more to come. And I appreciate you. See you good people in the next video.